25 years ago, the Postal Service issued a Sesquicentennial stamp for Iowa, the 150th anniversary. And I attended the ceremony. I drove out from Virginia. The stamp was design came from a painting by Grant Wood called Young Corn that he painted in 1931. And they took the right-hand side of the painting and kind of cropped it, and all of a sudden, Bob's your uncle, they had a stamp. The painting is in the Cedar Rapids Art Museum, and so I guess it really had no problems with the rights. The stamps were issued in sheets of 50 lick and stick, and then 20 self-adhesive. And so there are 2 Scott numbers for the issue. Now, I'm going to state right now that I've paid no attention to that as I've collected this issue. I know purists would say, yeah, you've got to have the lick and stick, in certain section of your collection, and make sure you have found the self-stick ones and keep them separate and accounted for. I've paid no attention to that at all. I consider it one issue. Yes, the colors are a little different, but I just couldn't be bothered with it and haven't done it that way. So the covers I'm going to show you today are going to be a mixture of both of these stamps, and I'm not going to really worry which ones they are. Okay. Now, when you visit Iowa, and I know Foster's been through Iowa a couple times, maybe 3 times, and I don't know how many of the people who are listening to this right now.
Probably twice. I did drive by 80.
You did the Interstate 29, so I counted that the 3rd visit. Anyway, Interstate Iowa is the main street of Interstate 80 is the main street of Iowa. It goes east to west, and it's pretty much the thing that most people see when they visit Iowa. Is the Iowa 80 truck stop, which is in Walcott, Iowa, and it's just west of Davenport in eastern Iowa on Interstate 80, and it covers about 75 acres. It's supposedly the world's largest truck stop. It has room for 900 trucks. It has a dentist's office, and it's just a huge complex when you get inside of it.
And it was as Pete described it. I stopped there in 2012. It was amazing. It has a 12 screen movie theater and a truck stop, doctor's office, dentist's office, a place that sold every ticky-tock tourist item known to man.
Yeah. It began when Interstate 80 was being developed back in the early 60s. A man who had the job of finding locations for Standard Oil gas stations bought this tract of land and thought it would be a good place for a gas station. Standard Oil disagreed, and so the guy got stuck with the land. Well, later on, the land changed hands a number of times, and that it turned into this enormous destination. And I guess the truckers maybe are ready for a stop when they cross the river, and it's quite a going concern. So that's the other part of Interstate 80.
The other thing is, if you're going east, you want to fill up there, because as soon as you cross the Mississippi into Illinois, gas prices go up about 30 cents a gallon.
Yeah, the gas tax in Illinois is pretty steep. And here's a welcome sign when you come into Iowa, maybe. Just a little joke there. We hope you brought something to do. I attended the ceremony in Dubuque back in 1996, and this is the program. There were 2 governors at the ceremony. Terry Branstad, the current sitting governor in 1996, was there. He spoke, and then Robert Ray, who had been the previous governor, was also there. Unfortunately, I don't stand in line for autographs. I don't have an autograph program. Maybe if I see one cheap on eBay, I'll buy it, but I doubt there's all that many. And I really don't care if I have an autograph program or not. So that's just me. I was making covers with Xerox Art back then, and here's a series of covers that I made. These are Xerox hand-folded, hand-glued covers. I serviced these at the Dubuque Post Office the morning of the ceremony. Just a few little things from my own collection. One from my alma mater. One for the Field of Dreams. And then for George Reeves, the Superman on the TV show, was born in Woolstock, Iowa. And of course, Johnny Carson was born in Corning, Iowa. And John Wayne was born in Winterset, Iowa. And Jerry Mathers was born in Sioux City, Iowa. A little celebrity cachets for those folks. Robert Ray ran for governor for the first time in Iowa in 1968. I was a senior at Drake University. I was active in the Young Republicans. I worked in his campaign as a volunteer. These are add-on cachets that I did many years later, using posters from the campaign as the cachet. Bob was at the ceremony in Dubuque, and I had some Bob Ray bumper stickers from 1968, and I pasted up 3 or 4 of them on a big envelope and serviced them as a cachet. And I gave one to Bob, and then I had him autograph a couple of them. And so I have one, and I gave one to a friend of mine who was also active in the campaign at the time. So this is kind of a one only Ray bumper sticker. Bob Ray was an extremely popular governor in Iowa. Back in the 70s, at the end of the Vietnam War, he was more than willing to take any refugee from Southeast Asia into Iowa, and did. And just a very popular guy. Now we're into the regular cachets. It's interesting that in 1996, a lot of people did different cachets for this issue. If you compare the Iowa issue in 1996 to the current Missouri issue, I don't think there'll be anywhere near the number of different cachets made from Missouri that there were for Iowa. 1996 seemed to be kind of the heyday of a lot of people doing onesie twosie cachets. It was kind of early eBay time. Maybe that was it. This is the Art Craft cachet. I have 12 different varieties of this particular cachet. They did do some full-size ones using the self-stick stamps, relatively new 25 years ago. The Art Master cachet, I have 5 different varieties of this one. Some of them are complicated like this. This is probably one of the better ones. And they also did an oversized cover. Fleetwood did cachets for each of the stamps, and then they did the cards, the proof cards, and they did a semi-large cachet or cover using half of the self-stick stamps. House of Farnham. This is a House of Farnham with actually the add-on seal here was done by Rick Chase. But this is the Farnham cachet, and I've got 6 different varieties of this with, combo stamps on it. This is one of the better ones. Aristocrats did it, and again, this has a Rick Chase add-on to the Iowa. The Colorado did 2 different cachets. They did a cachet for each of the stamps, the liquid stick, and then this the combo. And they also did some mini cards. I don't know, you see these mini cards around. They're really small little cards, and I've got one with each of the cachets on them for the Colorado. Here's the Mystic cachet, and with the combo. And then we get into the
Postal Commemorative Society.
Postal Commemorative Society. I have a little senior moment there.
Or Postal Nonsense Society.
Yeah, the Postal
Nonsense Society.
Yeah, kind of a nice cachet with the state capital. a non-farm cachet, and then I've got the sheet, the album sheet that came with it. This is a cover that was produced by cachet member Aiken, and these are rubber stamped ones, and I have 14 different varieties of it. They were done in like about 6 or 7 different colors, and they are of the time. I mean, they were done at the time, and then I bought 2 sets of them, and then I did an add-on text to the second set I made. So I did. This is a Bedford cachet. It's printed and it's kind of hand colored in, and features Hubert Heaver, the 31st president of the United States, Herbert Hoover. And this is another Bedford cachet with combo, and another one. And then Bedford took a Nix cachet from the I want to say it's the 38 issue, and printed it and hand colored it in and used it as a cachet for this one. And then he did one with a little bunny. This is a cachet that was done by the B'nai B'rith Philatelic Service in Des Moines, celebrating the first synagogue in Iowa, which is in Des Moines. The congregation is still there. They're not using this building, but it's been there. A seldom seen cachet. I think I bought this about 2 or 3 years ago, and I don't think it's an add-on, but it's possible it is. This is a Main Street Philatelics cachet.
That's a Dior.
Yeah.
Trying to think of his name.
I couldn't think of the name yet. I tried to find it and I can't. I don't have it in my notes.
He's in Branson, Missouri.
Yeah.
Uh,
This is a P&P first cachet, and that's about all I know about it. It's celebrating Julian Dubuque. These are a set of 2 cachets that were done for CFX, which is a stamp show that used to be in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. The stamp show was well after the first day, about 2 months later, but there's a nice set of covers there from CFX. This is kind of an unusual. This is from the Cedar Valley Stamp Club, which is in Cedar Rapids, and it's kind of a strange cachet because you've got half a state over here and the other half there, and I could never quite figure out why it was that way. And evidently there's a message here that I never got, or I'm still not getting, and it does detail the history of Iowa, from 1845 to 1846. Statehood, but what they were trying to say with this cachet is still lost on me. Here's some Steve Ripley cachets and combos.
That was an AFDCS general purpose cachet.
Yeah, and there's probably many. I've got, let's see, I think I've got 4 different colors on those. This is a Des Moines Sesquicentennial cachet, and evidently they hauled them across the Des Moines River on a ferry or something like that, because they went to great pains to put the stamp on their carried by ferry. This is a Tudor House cachet that was printed in a couple different colors. It's really a strange thing. It's got the Iowa seal on it, and then it's supposed to show, I think, grain fields, cornfields, and this didn't translate well on the envelopes, and they did a lot of unofficial cancels for it, and it was printed in orange and yellow, and I've got 9 different varieties of that one. Here's a set of cachets by Wild Bill, and I've got 9 of these too. One is Duke Wayne. This is the John Rompian cover. And here's two covers that were kind of great minds think alike. James Frankowitz did the top cover. That's the cover he made for the issue. I bought that from James. And then the bottom cover is the same American Gothic painting, and that's a heritage cachet. Here's a set of FIP or FIP cachets.
Dave Fletcher.
Which is Fletcher. Yep. Here's two Clarence Reed cards. Now we're into the Lazaroff collection. This is a card that Denise did, and I got that from her. And then here's the single ones, and I bought these from Chris. And as a matter of fact, I bought these from Chris, I think, after the fact. Chris was at the ceremony, and I'll talk about that in just a second here when I show the next set of covers. He evidently, the day after the ceremony, AmeriCover was in St. Louis, so he was in Dubuque, and then that afternoon after the ceremony, traveled to St. Louis, and evidently he stopped in Iowa City and got an unofficial cancel on the bottom cover. Now, these two covers are my favorite covers in the whole collection. I bought these at the ceremony. I bought them from Heather and Jennifer. They were the two little baby girls standing there at the table with their tall dad standing behind them. And I walked up, and they were right there in the hallway of the venue for the first day, and they were selling covers. And I think I maybe paid $3 a piece for them. And they had taken a rubber stamp of a ear of corn and kind of hand colored it in with pencils or crayons or whatever. And I asked for them to be signed, and Heather signed for both of them. Heather signed for herself and Jennifer. I'm not sure Jennifer was old enough to write yet at that time. They were just real young kids. And so these are my two favorite covers of everything I'm showing you today, and have an honored place in my collection. And actually, two of the first covers I actually bought for the collection. I mean, I bought them the first at the ceremony. Now we're getting into the Artopage series, and there's a whole bunch of different varieties of Artopage. It's different colors and text, and I've got 11 different varieties of Artopage. This is Fred Collins's for each of them, and with the Iowa City cancel. I don't know who got the Iowa City cancel for him, but now we're into a series of covers that maybe a lot of you don't have cachets from. These are Carrie Hefner covers, KH. And Carrie lives in Nebraska. He lives in Omaha. And Carrie went absolutely nuts making covers. I have 35 different cachets made by Carrie. These picture covers are basically cut from a magazine, and then they're pasted on a piece of cardboard with the back of an envelope glued to the back of them. It's kind of a 3-layer process. And Carrie made lots of cachets. I think they're just a sample. He also did a lot of clip art cachets. And he did picture cachets and more clip art. He's one of the few cachet makers that actually put a tractor on a cachet. I mean, there are a lot of farm-related cachets in this collection, and there aren't very many tractors. He did Hoover. He got unofficial cancel. And Carrie just went absolutely nuts. This is Tom O'Hagan's S&T cover. Another S&T cover that Tom did. And then these covers are by color copy.
And Andy Doback from Connecticut.
And here's two more. And the Farmer's Daughter. He was doing the Farmer's Daughter cachet. And he also did this one. This was kind of a nice cachet. Iowa was named after the Iowa tribe. And of course, back in the 1840s, they were all shipped off to Oklahoma or other places. You know, another sad tale of Native Americans losing their home. But one of the few cachets I have that shows the heritage of the Iowa name. This is a berry cover with the bird, the flag, and the map, American Gothic, kind of the whole thing. This is Neil Faircloth with another bunny. And I always kind of cringe when I buy a bunny cover. I'm not really a big fan of rabbits, but it's kind of a nice cachet. Rabbits in the corn. Now we're getting into the Hideki Takano covers. This is one that Foster sent me earlier, and then I've got some scans and coming up with some of the ones that are in the mail to me. He went back and took cachets from the earlier issues of Iowa and added stamps on it. And of course, they're all perfed with his initials. And here's one with a Ken Bowl cover from Cachet Craft, and another Ken Bowl, and then an Eeyore. And this one is Aristocrats. And then an Art Master with a and a Grimm's Land and another art craft for soil conservation. This was kind of a cute one with the Future Farmer stamp, and evidently did a North Dakota. This thing got worked on for quite a bit. Three different stamps.
How we kept track of them 7 years apart, I don't know. I'd love
Yeah, I
to
don't
know,
know.
but we'll never find out.
But the state stamps all have the perforations. And then here's an art master. This one has lots going on in it. You know, it's got 4 different cancels on it. This is a stamp that is labeled by Lorraine Bailey and the Cachet Maker series from 2004. She did it for the Lewis and Clark issue, and then evidently found a blank Iowa cover from '96, and then added the cachet on it, and then got the Lewis and Clark stamp on it. So this is a kind of a composite cover that was done by Lorraine. That's about all I know about it is what's printed on the cover. It's basically a Sacagawea Lewis and Clark cachet, but to use what appears to be a blank Iowa cover and did an add-on.
I think that's exactly what it is. Lorraine was famous when she was doing the AFDCS and Graebner cachets, printing extra envelopes on anything she had that was uncached.
Yeah, and so I think that's what happened with this one. This is a Cribs cover from Brunswick, Georgia, and features the Buster brand Phoenix Company from Des Moines, Iowa. I tried to research the Buster brand Phoenix Company from Des Moines, Iowa, and the only thing I ever found online was a notation that they had been charged with a grievous health violation by the city of Des Moines for uncleanliness. So I don't know, but anyway, this is an interesting cover. Cachet has nothing to do with Iowa, other than the fact that evidently there was a Buster brand Phoenix peanut company in Des Moines at one time. This guy also serviced these 2 covers with the stamps, and the cancels have absolutely nothing to do with Iowa. The top one is made of the NIST station, and then the other one is from Flat Rock. Let me see, I can't remember. I think Ohio. Hang on.
Ohio.
Flat Rock, Ohio, and I bought them basically because of the cachet, but there's some differences in the cachets and size of the person holding the peanut, and kind of an interesting, unusual item. Here is a W.E. Brown's cover that was added to a birds, state flowers and birds cover, similar to what Lorraine did. There's another heritage cover, and I think this features some WPA art that is in the post office someplace, and I have not done enough research to tell you which one it is. It's one of the few covers I have where the entire envelope was used. This is a Velatone, the darkest Velatone cachet. Kind of seldom seen, not really hard to find.
That's a very late Velvetone. I didn't even know they were doing them. He was doing them that late.
Yeah. This is an ace cover with the state flag and the state flag stamp, which is a sticker, I believe, down there. Here's Ralph and Diane's John Wayne cachet. John Wayne appeared on a lot of different cachets. W2, Will 2 did a bunch of them. With Rio Grande and that. Duke Wayne, more movie poster covers. And he also did one with the previous 3 Iowa stamps. And then he did one for Buffalo Bill, who was William F. Cody, was also born in Iowa. Clarence or Warren Reed, his Wild Horse cachet, hand painted, and then I did an add-on Duke Wayne cover later on a blank I had, which is the bottom cover there. And then this particular cover is M&H cachets. This is one of 3 made. On the back, it says that it was done by AFDCS member 15813. And that's all I know about it. I don't know who.
Isn't that Hank Mezak?
It might be. It's MH.
Yeah.
His would be HM.
Well,
No, maybe I've transposed it here in my notes, but I think
What's the membership number?
15813.
That is Michael Herbert.
Okay, well, I had it right then. MH
From Manchester, New Hampshire.
Okay.
I have the former member, AFDCS former member file.
He made 3 of these. I got one of them.
He's mainly a ship cancel person.
Okay.
I think he lives in Connecticut now. In fact, I think I may have seen him at Boxborough last couple weeks ago.
Okay. These are cachets made by Bell Cachet, which had a mailing address in Wetshire, Iowa. There's a series of these with a map. And then they did one with the artwork they took off of, I think, postcards or maybe a magazine or something, but they're kind of interesting cachets. Now we're into the GAM, the Jerry Allman covers. Now, it's kind of an unusual cachet. You got to look at it and say, what the heck is going on here? What is that? And what it is the dark part here is the grain auger coming off a corn combine, dumping grain into the state of Iowa. And I think it looked good when she had them made up, and the state seal was kind of hiding there, and you see the farmer on the steps climbing into the combine. But when I first saw the cachet, I said, "What the heck is this?" And as usual, there are a lot of different ones. I have 12 varieties of GAM covers with all kinds of unofficial cancels. Rick Chase covers are coming up soon, and I think Rick Chase, who is a retired photographer for the Waterloo newspaper, I think assisted her in getting cancels. I don't know if she was in Iowa at the time or not.
I'm pretty sure she was, because she was in America for the next day.
Yeah, okay, it could be, but she had her network working on all different kinds of unofficial cancels. Here's two number 10s from the Iowa Sesquicentennial Committee in Des Moines, and then the Iowa Postal History did a cachet, a number 10 with a combo cover, and then they did a number 6, the Iowa Postal History Society, with just the state seal. This is a Bob Budden cover, Beeline. And it's he made 3 of them, and it basically is a little land poster that he's kind of hand colored. That's about all I know about it. It's kind of an interesting cover, and I had it for a long time. This is one of a couple of GC covers. This is of course a Hawkeye, kind of hand drawn there, and then here's one with a knock knock joke on it. Kind of a really lame knock knock joke. I showed the front and the back of the cover. You know, knock knock, who's there? Iowa, Iowa quarter to the library for an overdue book. You know, he made 30 of them. So here's an Edken set of covers, a combo and a single stamp. Kind of a nice design. On the farm scene one. This is the Dubuque County Historical Society. This is a paste-on image on that one. I've got one with each of the stamps. And here's another one by the Tri-State Stamp Club, which is in Dubuque. And again, another paste-on cachet that was put on the envelope, and then they serviced it. This particular one is also a paste on, but I don't know who made it. I bought it as an unknown on eBay. It's from the period because the cancel, you know, covers the paste on. So, and now we're into the Edsel covers. Edsel Hatfield, I don't know how many millions of covers he's made over the years. But, here's the Grant Wood covers he made. He liked the colored paper on the envelopes. And then we have a series of Masonic ones for Civil War, Veterans Medal of Honor winners from Iowa. I've got all but one of these. There's one I'm missing that I was outbid on eBay about 4 months ago, and maybe it'll show up again. This particular one is kind of a dual cancel one. You had the Iowa stamp, and then earlier in the year, the Tennessee stamp was out, so it's kind of an unusual cover that way. Now we're into the Rick Chase covers. Rick Chase, I have 48 different Rick Chase covers. The top cover is another kind of Lorraine Bailey type combo cover where he used an older cover for the stamp a couple different times, and Rick is from Waterloo. He was a photographer of the Waterloo Courier. He was 45 miles away from me, and I've never met him. I don't know why we haven't gotten together, but we never did. I assume he's not currently employed. He may be retired. I tried to look him up the other day. I didn't find an obituary, so I assume he's still alive. So, and he celebrates Pella. He did some unusual covers. He has a couple of different cachet lines, you know, nostalgia and DRC, and he's got one for the Bloomers, and then of course he did the Field of Dreams cover from Dyersville with the Dyersville cancel. And he did the covered bridges of Madison County, and a little homage to the Iowa weather. You know, if you don't like it, it will change. And he made a lot of different covers. And some of these were hand colored in. I don't know if he did it or somebody in his family did it with a colored pencil. I've got them with uncolored, or you know, black and white, and some hand colored. And he also did a series of covers for the day that Buddy Holly died in the plane crash up near Clear Lake. in Mason City, Iowa. So here's a May the Music Died cover with the Mason City unofficial, and another Buddy Holly and the Richie Valens covers. He did some state fair covers. And then he used the duck stamp covers from '84. Ding Darling was an Iowa native and a cartoonist for the Des Moines Register, and so he used those. And then here's kind of a little cover where he kind of laments the problems with intellectual property and using stars on stamps and a little bit of editorializing. Here's a number 10 that he did. I think he worked with Jerry doing these. The cancels are pretty much the same towns. And he also, did some ephemera. Did the Mill Street Brewing Company in Amana, Iowa, and the Best Streeter Aldrich Tour of Sites, which I can't remember which town that's in. I think that's maybe in Cedar Rapids. A couple of unusual onesie-twosie covers he made. This is not a first day, but this is a Rick Chase inauguration cover that he did for Clinton's election, and it pays homage to the Iowa caucus, where it all begins, first of the nation. Okay, now we're into, this is by Frank Ellis, of a hand-colored cachet. And then this one is by Hogue, and this is a recent buy. I hadn't seen this before, and I don't really know much about it. I don't know who the cachet maker is. He evidently made quite a few of these. He made 410 according to the numbers down here, but it's very nicely done. And I'm assuming it's of the period. It was not an add-on, but it may have been. But I can't believe somebody would do 410 add-ons. And I think the image was printed and then it was colored in, kind of like Fred Collins. These are cachets by Hussey, and they look like they were printed by computer and then hand colored in with a pencil. And then here's the ham covers. Kind of an unusual cachet, the design on it. You got the card, you got supposedly the farmer and and whatever, but I always thought the cachet kind of, you never see a farmer with a rake like that in his hand. I mean, if you really know what Iowa farmers are like.
I guess Lois Hamilton was never in Iowa.
Never got the I-80. Here's a Dave Peterman cover that was done kind of after the fact. I think Dave services a lot of covers, and then they just kind of sit in a drawer until he finds a good use for them. And he added the quarters to these. He posted on Facebook a number of months ago that these are really hard to do. And he still has a couple of these for sale on eBay. And it's a nice cover, and it's really thick. It's about 1/4 of an inch thick because of the quarter. And but it's an interesting cover, and again, it's a good work by our friend Dave. I know it's here, and this is a K&K cover, hand painted. This is a Curtis Porman, hand painted. This is a Ben Kraft, hand colored. And then this is a Steve Wilson cover. I think Steve Wilson does some nice covers. I really think this is kind of a fun little cachet. This is a Melissa Fox cachet, hand painted. And this is a cachet by Lori K. Rogwall, and it's dated 1996, so I think it's of the period, and there was a cancellation on the artwork. I bought this maybe a couple years ago, and I don't know much more about it than that. I don't know who the cachet maker is, but again, it's another one of those people that just decided to like the issue and they would make a cachet. Here's a Lee Mitchell one, kind of incorporating the design of the stamp into the cachet. And there's a name for this, and I can't remember what it is, Foster. When they
incorporate the design.
incorporate design.
a card extension or something like that.
Something like that, yeah. The hand painted one. And this is the Gearlings cover. Gearlings also, there's a big balloon rally that's held every year in Indianola, Iowa, where, 500 hot air balloons rise from the Iowa prairie on a given day and float across the state. And he evidently knew about that and used it in his cachet. This is a ham cachet with a, I guess it's an ear corn, but evidently this cachet maker didn't know much about corn either. So this is a Ross Hamilton cachet, hand painted. And this particular cover is by Brady, and what it has to do with Iowa, I don't know. I think it's an add-on. You got Minnie Mouse on the swing, and I don't know. There it is. This is by Steve Tillotson. This is kind of one of my favorite covers too. Use the acronym of Iowa's idiots out walking around. I think it's kind of apropos. It sends a message that rings true some days here around here. This is a recent buy I got. It's a hand-drawn, hand-colored celebrating Byron Preston, and I'm sure it's an add-on, but it's a Freemason cover, and all I know is it's basically a Masonic cover. The next one is by Larry Gasson, another hand-colored, another great cover by Larry. Julian Pugh's cover with those stamps. And this particular cover, it's not a first day, but I bought it. Julian did the St. Patrick's cachet in 1997, the year after the stamp came out. He used the Iowa stamp. The cancelers missed the stamp, but I bought this just because of the stamp, and I like Julian's covers too. So kind of a fun little cover. Yeah, it's always interesting when you look at the numbering on some of these things. This is number 79 of 83. Now, why would he make 83? Why not just make 80 or 100 or 50, but 83? I always wonder about that sometimes, about how these odd numbers show up. Now we're into a series of covers that were made by Rob Larson from West Des Moines, Iowa. I have 40 different cachets from this guy. I think he's passed on. I bought these in big lots on eBay of 20, 25 different covers in a lot. I'm showing the ones that pertain to Iowa, but he also did a ton of Navy ship USS Iowa covers, and they all have different sets of information about World War II on them. Submarines captured, submarines lost, all different kinds. Evidently, maybe Mr. Larson was a Navy veteran, and he just went crazy making different cachets. Like I say, I have 40 varieties of these covers, and I don't know, they really don't relate to Iowa very much. Most of them don't. This is a map add-on cachet that by an unknown artist that I bought recently, and I'm pretty sure it's an add-on. And there's a little red circle around the Butte. Here's another cachet by what I say is G. Brecklin, and it's
Bricker.
Bricker. Is that what it is?
Bricker, I believe.
Hey, Bricker.
Bricker.
Okay.
B-R-I-C-K-E-R.
E-R. Okay, I thought it was E-N.
And if I had enough time, I might remember something about him. I recognize the name.
And this is the first day cover in JJ or JS. One of the few pig covers I've got, other than the ones that Carrie did. Another farm-related cover. This is a RFDC laser cachet. 10 of them were made. I'm thinking this is an add-on, but I can't be sure. This is a Dick Truman cover. And I'm pretty sure that's I bought that as an add-on. No, wait a minute, there's the Dick Truman cover. This is an add-on. This is an unknown add-on I bought. Here's Bob Emmerich's cover for Ronald Reagan. Serviced with a combo Iowa stamp. Here's two cachets by Dave Smith. Truck driver Dave Smith. Hand colored. There's a couple of add-ons that I don't know, they're unmade, they were made and with paste on. And I've done some add-on cachets myself. And here's a pair of those. I've done some. I had found both stamps on the cancel. And, one features the house I grew up in, and then another one of the we hope you brought something to do cachet. There's two cachets by Warren Lang. One of them is addressed to him, and the other one's signed on the back. This is an add-on cachet. I think George Brenner in Minneapolis sent for the covers, and somebody found this envelope and he had some clip art and put a cachet on it. This is a recent purchase. There's another unknown add-on cachet. John Rompan used this Iowa map in his cachet. And this is a Larry Fiddler hand colored cachet. And this is another unknown hand colored cachet with they printed the picture of the Capitol and the state seal, and then they got they got color markers and add a little color to it. Here's a hobo art cachet, which is an add-on. I think all the hobo art cachets are add-ons. This is a paste-on Iowa flag cachet, and when I bought it, it was supposed to be by somebody by the name of Saracen, but that's all I know about it. And it was the only note I made on the cover when I bought it. And but it's a paste-on piece of paper onto it. There's another unknown with a paste-on map of Iowa, historic map. Here is a text-only cachet.
That's Clarence Reed.
And yeah, I think that's what I thought it was too.
That's his membership number.
Is that his membership number?
And that's his style. In that time, he was putting the stamp designer on it. Definitely a Clarence Reed.
Okay. That's kind of what I thought it was, but I wasn't sure. Thanks for confirming that. Here's a Samuel Gompers Stamp Club issue from the Iowa Federation of Labor. Seldom seen cachet. Here's one that's labeled RVD, and that's about all I know about it. Here's one that's on a Des Moines Register and Tribune envelope. Here's the gold leaf cover. And then I've got the souvenir pages and the both stamps on it. That's it.